Hello, and it's day 56.
So the 29th year and beyond.
We've talked about the foundational things that we believe that really make our marriage great, and we've talked about communication. One of the things that I wanted to lift up is listening. I think that many times we can think that we're communicating well and that we're paying attention, but we really may not be doing either. Neither.
What did you say?
Neither. Do you have anything else to say besides poking fun at me in front of God and everybody?
What did you say?
See, she wasn't listening.
Okay, so for the reality is, we listen better than they do.
We who?
Females.
I believe you believe that.
No, it's true.
Okay.
I mean, I think a lot of times y'all think that you're hearing what we're saying, but y'all
Yes,
like,
dear.
yeah, see, that's what I mean. See, there you go. They'll hear what you say, like you might say, think of a good one.
Well, this is the thing. Listening. And see, it's my belief that there's a difference between hearing and listening.
Agreed.
Case in point, I think listening has to be one of those things that's really intentional. You can hear a lot of things. Let's say you're in a restaurant, right? You hear all the chatter, you hear noise, you hear glasses clanking, but you're not paying attention to that. You hear people at the next table speaking, but you don't know what they're talking about. You're hearing things, but you're not listening. That's where I think the distinction becomes the difference between hearing and listening. So, if I'm engrossed in something I'm doing and she's talking, she wants to have one of those moments that she wants to talk, yeah, honey, I'm hearing her, but I'm not listening. And so because I'm not listening, I'm missing vital points that she's making or what's really, really meaningful for her.
Well, and I'll say this. You're the great communicator. And one of the things that you pride yourself on doing is actually listening to what people say and not hearing. Unfortunately, that's really not the norm for most males, especially since I work in a male-dominated industry. I know that when I'm talking to them, a lot of times, if I go back 10 minutes later and say, they're like, huh, what did you say? They missed it. They missed the whole thing that I said. So there is a big difference. So, I mean, how would you help men understand how to hear versus listen?
And that's what I said. It has to be intentional. One of the things we've said before in one of the videos, or maybe more than one of the vlogs that we've done, is
Did you have a brain?
I did.
Brain fart.
Well, one of the things we've talked about is the fact that the largest room in the world is the room for improvement. And no matter how well you do what you do, you can always strive to do it better. And so for me, listening is not something that just happens. There is an intentionality behind it, so that for me, I learned a long time ago not to just even listen to what someone says, right? But focus on what was the motivation. So when I am actively engaging with you and we're in communication or striving to communicate, I'm not listening to just your words. I'm also paying attention to your body language. I'm also paying attention to your vocal tonality. But more importantly, I'm striving to listen for your heart.
Well, that's good and that's what I was trying to get at, because I think that one of the things that men tend to do is while they're listening to your talking, they're trying to come up with their next response.
I think that's maybe men do it, but it's not a man thing.
No, it's not. But
and I hope I'm not mansplaining.
Yeah, you probably are.
But but the reality is, I think it's a human thing, particularly if you're at odds or if you have different perspectives or point of views. You're waiting for your opportunity to make your argument versus listening for the heart. It's not about listening at all. It's just like, okay, you're talking. So it's like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 because I'm just waiting for my opportunity to defend my point.
Exactly, and that's another thing that men do a lot of is just that. You know, they want to defend their point. So, I mean, I think what I heard you saying, what I think really was the key point there was what? You said that.
Well, if you want to listen versus just hear, then it has to be intentional. But this is our time. So definitely part 2 will be taking place tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.